Do you wish you had a coach to help you create your business or ministry in becoming an author, but you just are shy about being critiqued? Then this series is perfect for you because you can apply my coaching and critique of myself to yourself. That's right. I recorded my very first biblical videos to put out on a platform. I recorded those 10 years ago, and now I'm looking back from where I am now and giving myself a little coaching and critique. What you can do is learn from what I'm telling myself. Notice the things that I did well back then and notice the things that I could have changed. Apply it to yourself now so that you don't make the same mistakes I did and you start off on a better foot. So let's dive in.
I purchased these blinds about 6 years ago and I had them cut to fit the width of the window, but not the length. I thought that I would pull the slats out of the bottom of the blinds to have them fit the bottom of the windowsill eventually. The problem is day after day, I was irritated that there was a stack of slats sitting on the windowsill, but I never did anything about it. I thought, I don't have time to handle that blind issue today. And so I procrastinated for 6 years. Yesterday, I finally got around to it. And you know how long it took me to fix the bottom of these blinds? 2 minutes. All that brain space to be irritated at blinds or to feel like I just don't have time today when really it took 2 minutes. I noticed something else. When I opened the window, I thought maybe I'll just clean it while I've pulled up these blinds and while I'm fixing everything over here. And it didn't look like the window needed cleaning. I just decided to do it. Really, I don't know when I've cleaned that window last because when I wiped it down, the paper towel was just black with soot from burning candles in this room. And I did it again with the Windex and the paper towel, again, black with soot. The third time, the paper towel completely black with soot. See, I didn't notice that my view was so murky until I noticed how crystal clear it was once it had been cleaned. I think all of this fits perfectly with what we've been reading in the 1 Year Bible in the New Living Translation this week, because it was a murky day, a cloudy and dark day in the land of Israel. King David made a terrible mistake, a selfish error that cost a man and a child their lives. He had plenty of wives himself, beautiful ones, but he saw another woman that he wanted, Bathsheba, and she was already married. So he had her husband killed and he took her for himself. God didn't say anything about that for a while, at least not anything that's recorded in the Bible. But just because God keeps silent on an issue doesn't mean that he approves. It doesn't mean that he's forgotten. It just means that he's waiting for you to notice that he wants a change. So David didn't notice, and long enough passed for Bathsheba to bear his child. Finally, God sends a prophet to confront David. And the first thing he says is, David, why have you despised the word of the Lord and done this terrible thing? It's interesting that the first thing the prophet says is not, why did you commit murder? Or why did you commit adultery? The first thing God leads the prophet to say is, why have you despised the word of the Lord? To despise something is to completely disregard it, to neglect it, not to listen to it, not to pay attention, not to cherish it, but to almost hate it by casting it aside. I don't think that David's first error was just murder out of the blue. I think his first error was to take his eyes off the Word of God. He didn't have the complete Bible that we have, but he did have the book of the law, and he knew that he was supposed to be meditating on it day and night. I think he just stopped. He got too busy, or he started procrastinating, thinking that maybe he just didn't have time today. He'd get around to it tomorrow. Eventually, all of those days add up to just flat out despising the Word of God, not heeding it at all. That's exactly what we do. We always think, I don't have time today. I don't have a full hour to be reading my Bible, or I can't find any quiet time to myself today, when really I don't think we're estimating it correctly. To really have ourselves in the Word of God where we can compare ourselves to what God says about us, He can wash our hearts clean in just a short amount of time. We don't always need a full hour of total quietude for ourselves. Just quickly reading what he has to say and asking him, what do you want to say to me today? That's enough to keep our view clean, because we won't know if our worldview has become cloudy until we wash it clean. And the Word of God is what does that. I noticed too that there's another section in this week's reading assignment that really means a lot to me. The New Living Translation is the One Year Bible, separates a little bit from different parts of the Bible for every day's reading assignment. We have the Old Testament, the New Testament, some Psalms, and some Proverbs. So this week we read a little bit from Psalms 119. The entire psalm is about the Word of God and how precious it is for correcting us and training us and preparing us and comforting us and guiding us and everything that it does for us. And this stood out to me, this verse, because it was poetic and beautiful. Psalm 119:54 reads, "Your principles, your word, your law, your principles have been the music of my life throughout the years of my pilgrimage." No one knows who wrote Psalm 119. Some people think it may have been David, but no one's for sure. I think it very well could have been David, simply because he had to learn the hard way that he can't take his ears off what God's saying. He can't turn away. And just like we have to keep our vision clear by exposing ourselves to the Word of God, we also have to keep our ears open by listening to the Word of God. So when we procrastinate and don't make the Word of God our priority, we're really shutting ourselves off from everything our Creator would say to make our lives better and even easier than they are when we keep ourselves away from Him and waste precious time when really He's the one that knows exactly what we need, exactly when we need it. So no matter where you are, if you're a day behind, if you're a week behind, if you're a month behind, it doesn't even matter. Just pick up the Bible, begin reading, and no matter what, don't stop. Keep going.
All right, let's take a look at some of the things that we can critique and also build constructively along the way. How do you know if you're writing your book the right way or if it's any good? How can you create money and income as an author? What do you need to do to get a literary agent and a publisher? And how can you build your social media platform? Most of all, what are you supposed to do to get a breakthrough when you feel stuck? We will answer all these questions and more in the next Bless Your Book Challenge. Join us so that you can bless your message, bless your money, bless your publisher, bless your platform, and bless your breakthrough. We'll be walking through biblical principles to help you build your career and ministry as an author on the kingdom foundation that you are meant for. You have been anointed and appointed, prepared and positioned for such a time as this. Don't wait. Join the Bless Your Book Challenge today. Wonderful, wonderful job of creating structure in these videos. You've created a structure that is repeatable, which I always say is the best way to get content created. You've decided that you're moving through the New Living Translation One Year Bible. And so the content is kind of made for you. You know that you're just going to take that week's reading and draw something from the New Testament and Old Testament. That makes it easy for you to create the content. So if you're watching this, whatever you choose to create your repeating structure, it doesn't matter as long as you decide it. And I had decided back then that I was going to do a repeating structure of the New Living Translation One Year Bible and just drawing from my daily reading. Notice that my structure for this series is I'm creating critiques and constructive criticism for my old videos. So the total series will be 8 videos because I'm going to critique 8 videos from the past. But I've got the structure set out for me so I can record more. Like, I'm probably going to record all of them today because I created a structure for myself, a repeating structure. I know all I have to do is sit here in the same outfit with the same background and just watch a video and critique it. And that's the structure, at least for the next 8. I have several different structures that I use for my YouTube videos. Sometimes it's an interview and sometimes it's a different kind of teaching, but you can create a structure and it makes it easier for you to sit down and hit record. So I applaud myself on that, on creating a structure for myself. The microphone was touching your collar. That's why it was making a weird noise. And I think in the previous videos, the microphone was on you, but it wasn't even hooked up. That's why we weren't even hearing it well, but that's okay. Don't worry about the equipment. Don't worry about the equipment. Just keep going with creating the content. In fact, I want to point that out that you've already developed for yourself a tagline. At the end of every video, you're writing keep going. And what you're meaning by that 10 years ago, Nika, is keep reading the Bible. Like, keep reading the Bible. That's where keep going came from. So many of you have been with me a while, and you know that my tagline or motto is keep going. It just is. I don't know. It just started to be the thing people knew me as. And so I have the Keep Writing podcast, which used to be called the Keep Going podcast, because I was encouraging people to keep reading the Bible. That's what I wanted. I wrote a daily devotional called Keep Going. Somebody told me recently they got a tattoo that says keep going and they thought of me. All I know is that this is where it began. I was encouraging people to read the Bible and to keep going. But so I think it's great to have a little tagline or motto that you can end every video with. Now I usually end it with keep writing. But the thing is, I didn't keep going. I stopped making these videos at one point. I did a strong job of doing it and then I just stopped it. But let me tell you why I stopped making the videos, so that you won't burn out like I did. Do you know why? I was editing all of it. I was filming it all. I was editing it all. I was creating the lessons. Honestly, that is a way to start. And I'm telling you that you can start that way. There was nobody in the room with me. I was filming that by myself. One problem is then I don't know. At the time, I didn't know, am I in the shot? Now you can really see, with a flip up, I can see the screen whether I'm actually in the shot right now. But back then I couldn't, and didn't know if the sound was registering on the camera, and I didn't know. And then I would try to take it off the camera and put it on my computer and edit it, and then it was a lot. For a content creator, you should just focus on creating the lesson itself, because you're gonna have to be on your knees praying and asking God what to teach. And that's the most important part. Others can help you with the logistics. And I promise you that hiring someone, I have at times hired someone to come in and just film me. That's not what I'm doing today, but a lot of my videos that you've seen are where someone comes into my home or meets me in a studio and films me, so that we can get a lot of videos done at once instead of just doing one video. We'll get more into that later. But hiring somebody to come in a video, then you know whether the sound is recording, whether you're in the shot and it's a good shot and all of that. Also hiring an editor to do the post-production. It's worth the investment, because you're going to be able to record more, to spend more time in the Bible, to spend more time researching and creating lessons. And that's what you really need to do. You're the face, you're the voice, you're the mind of wisdom for this particular piece of content. Someone else can edit it for you or help you film it. And I recommend that. I even have someone now who writes summaries and uploads the video. That's a key job. All of these are key jobs to creating a ministry online like this. The summaries she writes of the videos, the emails that go out about these videos, it's critical. I used to do all of those things myself. So if you're in the position where you're doing all of those things yourself, I know what it's like. It's a lot on one plate. But realize you can slowly let go of some of those jobs. You can slowly let go of them. I didn't all at once say, okay, I'm going to have all these different people help me. I slowly figured out what would bring me a little relief first. And you can slowly let go. That's going to require you not needing it to be you. And for some people, it's kind of hard to let go of the editing or let go of the writing of emails or writing of summaries. But you're not the best person. Clearly, if you look at that editing where I was putting jokes on the screen, I'm not even sure why I wrote BAM. Why did I write BAM exclamation point? I don't know. Clearly, I was not the best editor. I didn't even have great editing software. I used what was free on my Mac computer, iMovie. That's fine. It did the job, but I didn't have to be the one to do the job. I wasn't the best one. So if you're sitting there thinking, well, I want to do it because I do it the way I want to do it, let go of that and start reaching out and little by little let people take over some of the support positions around your online ministry as a content creator. Let me see if there's anything else that I want to point out. Yes, I loved the lesson. The lesson was excellent. Again, combining a Bible story with a personal story is so effective in teaching. So if you're watching this, you'll see how I combined a personal story about waiting 6 years to fix the blinds when it really only took me 2 minutes to fix the blinds. And then I apply it to a Bible story, or really I'm applying the Bible story to the personal story. And my advice to you as you create content online, whether it's a media channel through video or through audio as in a radio show or podcast, please believe that it can be done easily. Make it easy. Don't procrastinate 6 years on making your first video. Ask yourself, how can I make this easy? Because if you're procrastinating making your first video or recording your first podcast episode, you're probably telling yourself it's complicated and hard. So make it easy. Think, how can I do this easily? I did several podcasts one time on my phone on the balcony, a hotel balcony. I was traveling and I just went, I'm not going to make this complicated. I'm going to make it easy. I sat on the balcony and I just recorded my podcast into my phone. I did that again actually recently. I recorded 3 different podcasts just into my phone when I was out at the park. So you can do it easily. Don't overcomplicate it. Make it easily. Don't procrastinate 6 years on something that would take 2 minutes. That's my advice to you. That's my encouragement to you. You can do this. You can do this. Don't expect to be where I am right now without going through your own process. Look at those videos that I started 10 years ago and realize, oh, everybody starts somewhere. And let yourself grow and develop. Let your team grow and develop. Let your equipment grow and develop. And let your own confidence grow and develop. You can do this. Keep writing.